Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmadacharya-paryantam
Vande Guru
Vande Guru
Paramparam
Paramparam.
Om Sahana Bhavatu
Sahana
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 Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai
Karavavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavidvishavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Om Shanti
Mavidvishavahai
Shanti
Shanti Shanti.
Shanti. Okay, so we had completed the first three padas and we were on the seventh mantra, not the seventh karika, seventh mantra. So we'll chant that again. Mandukya Upanishad, seventh mantra, not the karika. Nantah pragyam na bahish pragyam.
Nantah pragyam na bahish pragyam.
No bhayatah pragyam na prajnana ghanam.
No bhayatah pragnyanna prajnanaghanam.
Na pragyam na pragyam.
Pragnam
Pragyam.
Adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam.
Adrishyam
Adrishyam
avyavaharyam agrahyam.
Alakshanamachintyam.
Alakshanam
Malkshanamachintyam
achintyam.
Avyapadesyam.
Avyapadeshyam.
Ekatma pratyayasaram.
ekatma
Ekatma
pratyayasaram
pratyayasaram.
Prapanchopasamam shantam.
prapanchopashamam
Prapanchopashamam
shantam
shantam.
Shivamadvaitam.
shivamadvaitam
Shivamadvaitam.
Chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigneyaha.
chaturtham
Chaturtham
manyate sa
manyate sa
atma
atma sa
vigneyaha.
Okay. So let's look at the mantra in detail. We had already given a brief outline of the mantra in the last class. So it says, na antah pranyam, na bahihi pranyam. So bahihi means outwards. Na bahihi pranyam. This pranyam, this consciousness, this turiam, which we're talking about the fourth pada, right? The turiam. This is not the Vishwa, this is not the Taijasa, and this is not the Prajna either. We are talking about the consciousness not associated with any of the reflecting mediums. So that consciousness, na bahihi, is not turned outwards, which means it is not the waker I. And by saying that, what is being negated? When I am saying this consciousness is not turned outwards, which of the three padas we discussed earlier is being negated?
Sthula Atma.
Sthula Atma, the Vishwa is negated, right? Then the next one is na antaha prajnam. It's not turned inwards also. Therefore, the Taijasa, Sukshma Atma is being negated. Now he comes up with a statement, na ubhayata prajnam. No bhayata is na ubhayata prajnam. Ubhayata means not either of the two states. So an intermediary state is meant by ubhayata. Ubhayata literally means two. So na ubhayata prajnam. Not either of these two states, which means neither the waker nor neither the Vishwa nor Taijasa. So it's a intermediary state which is being talked about. Now this has to be carefully understood. This is a rare experience. Okay, this is not usually we don't come across this. Usually we are either Vishwa or Taijasa or Prajna. Because we are not talking about Prajna here, we're talking about only Taijasa and Vishwa. So here he is saying that this outward looking, this consciousness is not looking outwards, it is not looking inwards. Therefore, it is neither the Vishwa nor the Prajna, neither is it in between the two. So in between the two is a rare state where you are neither fully awake nor are you completely said to be sleeping. So it's a very early morning state when you are coming out of your sleep. You're coming out of the sleep avastha, but the dream is still there. Like you are not broken out completely. So it's a peculiar state where you have one leg in the dream avastha and one leg in the jagrada avastha. So this particular state is referred to as ubhayata prajnam over here. This consciousness is neither one of these intermediate states also. And we can say that this intermediate state is a state where we get premonitions of the future, or we have what is known as ESP, extrasensory perception experience. In short, all these paranormal experiences, when you say that, oh, I had this, I had a particular experience which turned out to be true later. So I don't know, many of you may have had, for example, very simple thing is that you have forgotten some, event, completely forgotten, and that event suddenly pops up in the middle. Or you have a premonition about what is going to happen that day, and then actually it happens. So it is as if the future is reaching out to the present. So this particular state is here known as Ubhayata Prajnam, neither Vishwa nor Taijasa, an intermediary state. So what is he saying? That in intermediary state also, this consciousness, this Turiam is not. Okay, so we have negated Vishwa, we have negated Taijasa, we have negated an intermediary state which is in between these two states. And then you go to the next one, na prajnana ghanam. So this Turiam is not the Sushupti Pramata also. Ghanam here is as undifferentiated. So Prajnana Ghanam is not the Prajna also. The Sushupti Pramata also he is not. And to put it another way, he is different from the Turiam, from the Vishwa, he is different from the Taijasa, he is different from an in-between status also, as well as Prajna is negated. Okay, so that negates in fact, it negates 4 states, 3 which we have talked about, and the 4th which was introduced here as an intermediary state of experience. So those 4 experiences are negated by saying consciousness is not associated with any of them. Okay, so prajnana ganam. Then na prajnam is the next one. Okay, na prajnam. So here Shankara says prajnam should be taken as sarvagnyam. So it is na sarvagnyam, which means it doesn't know everything also. This consciousness is not the all-knower, which is Ishvara. Okay. So na prajnam means this consciousness is not Ishvara. And na prajnam. So it is na aprajnam. It is not Jada also. So it is not Ishvara, nor is it Jada. Right. So the use of this term na aprajna negates the idea of Turyam Brahman being Jadam. Therefore, he is saying that this consciousness is not a pramata because it is not associated with the mind. At the same time, it is not Jada also. What is the net effect of all this? All forms of knowership, all forms of pramatatvam, that is, any form of pramata is being negated, which means what? He is a apramata. Therefore, Turyam is pramatra vilakshanam. Or the 3 pramatas you can say, the Vishwa pramata, Taijasa pramata, and Sushupti pramata. He is different from all those 3, and you can add also the Ubhayata pramata. He is different from that also. So this is the first part of the mantra, starting from Nantah Prajnam to Na Prajnam. Okay, so that is the negation of entire pramata status. Now will come the negation of the prameyam status, the object status. So what does he say? Adrishyam, avivaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam. So let us look at them one by one. Adrishyam. It is not an object of any of the indriyas, any of the organs of perception. So adrishyam literally means not an object of the eyes, but here chakshuhu, the eyes, have to be taken as palakshanam for all the jnanendriyas. Therefore, adrishyam means pancha jnanendriya agocharam. Right? What does agocharam mean? I have to keep on reminding occasionally. What does agocharam mean?
Invisible.
Beyond perception. Cannot be recognized by the sense organs.
What does gocharam
Indriya
mean?
gocharam. Gocharam means can be experienced or seen
Gocharam
by.
literally means it can be grasped. Okay. So pancha jnanendriya agocharam means it cannot be grasped by any of the panchendriyas. It cannot be recognized. Okay. This is jnanendriyas. Then agrahyam. Grahyam also means grasped, but here it is a physical grasping. So the adrishyam is the pancha jnanendriya agocharam. Agrahyam is the pancha karmendriya agocharam. Okay, so all the 10 indriyas are not capable of grasping this turiam consciousness. Then the next one is alakshanam. Lakshanam is a linga. It's an indicator. Therefore, alakshanam means it cannot be, there can be no anumana pramanam which can be applied. It cannot be inferred. Right? Like when we see the smoke, which is the lakshanam for what? For fire. And therefore, if you see smoke, you can say that fire is there. But here, alingam, there is no lakshanam at all. To make an inference, the basic criteria required is lakshanam. That itself is not there. Okay. So, what are we arriving at? Turiam is not available for jnanendriyas. It's not available for karmendriyas. It's not available for inference also. So what is going to be said about it? Achintyam. It cannot be thought of at all. Since the jnanendriyas cannot recognize and there is no lakshanam at all, the thinking process itself is not available to understand this turiam. Achintyam, incomprehensible, which cannot be thought about, literally, which cannot be thought about, right? So you cannot meditate upon turiam. Very important idea, because in Yoga Shastra there is a common perception that you can come across turiam in samadhi avastha. So this achintyam means turiam is not an object of meditation, right? And therefore only avyapadeshyam. Vyapadesha means descriptions. Avyapadeshyam means beyond any descriptions. Okay. And have we missed out anything?
Yes.
We have missed out
Avyavaharyam.
Avyavaharyam, beyond any transactions. Since you cannot grasp with the mind, since you cannot grasp with the hand, with the karmendriyas, since you cannot grasp with the jnanendriyas, therefore it cannot be transacted with at all. Right? The interesting thing is, after saying avapyadesyam, vyapadeshyam means described. Avyapadesyam means not capable of being described. And yet, what is the interesting thing? That Shruti is Shabda Pramanam. It uses only words to describe turiam. So it is describing that which cannot be described at all. And that is Vedanta. To describe what cannot be described, that is the success of Vedanta. The Guru or the Acharya, he communicates in a peculiar manner, which we shall see as we go on. So as I said, the last one is what? The avyavaharyam. It's not available for transactions, because all transactions are either mental transactions in the form of vritti, verbal transactions in the form of words, descriptions, or jnanendriya transactions in the form of perception, or karmendriya transactions in the form of actually handling an object. And since it is not available, since Turiam is not available for any of these transactions, no transaction can be carried out with Turiam. Therefore, a Vyavaharyam, not capable of being transacted with. Okay, which is why we say that Brahman Turiam is beyond time and space. Because only what is available in time and space is available to us for transactions, right? Again, we said it's not available for pratyaksham, it's not available for anumanam, it is not available for shabda pramanam also. Therefore, Turiam is not a prameyam, it's not an object of knowledge. Okay, the second part of the mantra is over. So, two parts we have seen. One, negating the knower. One, negating the status of Turiam as known. Any questions so far?
Acharya,
Yes, please.
what is apratyasamsara? Apratyasaram.
We are coming to that. That is the third part. We have seen only
Okay.
the two parts, Nanta Pranyam to Na Pranyam and Adrishtyam to Avapyadyashyam we have seen. Now we come to the third part of the mantra. The mantra is divided into three, as I said before. So this is the third part. So third part is what? Ekatma Pratyaya Saram Prapancha Upashamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. This is the third part of the mantra. So Pratyaya Saram. Okay. Ek Atma Pratyaya. Ekat Pratyaya is basically a thought, right? And Ekatma is as the non-dual thought. So the definition of Turiam is pure consciousness, Ekatma, which is to be recognized to Pratyaya through your thought, right? Only the thought can recognize that Turiam. What thought is that? I thought. So I am hearing this class, I am drinking water, I am asking a question. The I is the definition of Turiam. And this I is experienced by everybody as what? In grammatical terms, first person singular subject. Right? When I say I, it is the first person. When I say I, it is singular. And when I say I am the subject of whatever I am going to talk about. Therefore, the word I is first person, singular, and subject. And this I, which falls in this definition, first person, singular, and the subject of the sentence, this I is called the I thought, the I cognition. And that is what is meant by Atma Pratyaya. Right? Atma Pratyaya means that I thought, which is subject to being the first person, subject to being singular in nature, and subject to being the subject. These three conditions are fulfilled, then the I thought is I cognition, awareness of myself. And this I, and what is the rest of it? Eka Atma. Atma Pratyaya, I thought. Eka means one unbroken principle. From birth to death, that I remains the same. Where did you see this? In Bhagavad Gita. Yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. Body will change, but the dehi remains the same. The I which I use when I am first capable of talking and understanding. A child will say, I am hungry. That I, when you are in the teenage, you say, I am thinking. When you are in middle age, you say, I am not feeling too good. When in the old, you say, oh, I am ill. That I, the same I, is Ekaha, is experienced by everybody. Childhood, youth, middle age, old age. That I is one continuous thread of experience, right? I doesn't change. And therefore he says Eka Atma Pratyaya. That one thought which remains the same from the time you were born till the time you die, that I is the Ekatma Pratyaya. And that Ekatma Pratyaya is what? Is the Saram, is the essence, is the Pramanam for recognizing Turiam. Right? Remember that this I, whatever it experiences at various times, it changes. The objects of the experience that this I has, that those objects change. But the I is one continuous I. It remains changeless through all the changing experiences. And therefore Shankara says that Saram here indicates that this Ekatma Pratyaya, the I thought, is the only means for understanding Turiam, which means it is a Pramanam. So Saram has the meaning of Pramanam over here. That Ekatma Pratyaya is the Saram, is the Pramanam for understanding Turiam. Okay. And therefore, by studying that Ekatma Pratyaya, the I experience, I should be able to understand what is Turiam. Okay. Right. Now we enter into a slightly more technical area. How should I understand this I thought through the series of experiences that I get? I am happy, I am sad, I am tall, I am hungry, I am fat. How should I understand? In all the experiences, there is only one common factor, that is the Ekatma Pratyaya, the continuous experience that I am this conscious entity. That experience is present across from childhood till death, right? So thus, even though this continuous Ekatma Pratyaya is being experienced, whenever I add some adjectives to that I, like I am happy, I am worried, I am young, I am middle-aged, I am old, I am an experiencer. Remember, all these adjectives, these attributes, they come and go. So they are not continuous. They are all changing features. What is continuous? Only I. The I thought is continuous. Therefore, those changing features, happy, sad, depressed, worried, old, fat, young, all these are not your real nature. Because if they are your real nature, for example, if happiness is my real nature, I should be happy all the time. If unhappiness is my real nature, I should be unhappy all the time. But that is not so. And therefore, I have to conclude that the attributes which I am adding to the I, those attributes are subject to coming and going. They are not permanent, and therefore they cannot be part of my real nature. Only that which is permanent is my real nature. What is permanent? I. That Ekatma Pratyaya alone is permanent. Okay. So again, whenever I say, let us say, I am a boy, I am something, I am X. There are two parts. One is the Ekatma Pratyaya, the continuous consciousness part, and the other is the non-continuous attribute part, happy, sad, fat, tall, thin, old, right? If I conclude that the attribute is the real I, then I will be always changing. I will be Vishwa or Tajasa or Prajna. But if I conclude that these are changing, they come and go, and therefore I can't be that. I can neither be Vishwa, nor Prajna, nor Tajasa. What am I? I am the one common feature underlying these three states. And that is Shuddha Chaitanyam, which we are saying is Turiam. This is the Saram for understanding Ekatma Pratyaya. Okay. Any questions? This portion is the most important part of this mantra and probably the most important part of any Vedantic literature. In every Vedantic text, ultimately you will find that you have to come down to this. Aham vritti, in other words. Ekatma pratyaya is what we are calling aham vritti. That aham vritti is present in and through any other vrittis. And so in English, that unchanging, invariable awareness of myself as I, that is there in Jagrata Avastha, that is there in Swapna Avastha, that is there in Sushupti Avastha. It is continuously there, and therefore that is the only means that I have, the only tool that I have to say that I am Turiam, the unchanging, invariable consciousness. Okay. If there are no questions, I will go on to the next few words, also very, very important. Next word is what? Prapanchopashamam. Right? Prapanchopashamam is Prapancha Upashamam. Right? Upashamam means withdrawal. Now, this is a very, very important word. In fact, it is so important that the entire second chapter of this Karika, the mantras end with the 12th mantra in this chapter, in chapter 1, and chapter 2, 3, and 4 are Gaudapada's explanations. Chapter 2 deals exclusively with this one word, Prapanchopashamam, a very, very important word. So if you break it up, Prapanchaha, Upashamaha. Prapanchaha means the three universes, the three worlds, which is Thula Atma, Sukshma Atma, Karana Atma, or in other words, Thula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, and Karana Prapancha. Upashama means withdrawal, and therefore Prapancha Upashamam means that from these three states of Thula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, and Karana Prapancha, you have to withdraw the three reflecting media, the three universes. The Thula Prapancha has to be withdrawn, Sukshma Prapancha has to be withdrawn, and Karana Prapancha has to be withdrawn. When the three reflecting media are withdrawn, what remains is a consciousness which is not associated with any of these three worlds. That consciousness is Turiam. So Turiam is Prapancha Upashamam. Right? Thus, the word Prapancha Upashamam is essentially negating the three universes. And by negating the three universes, we are saying that the first three padas at the samashti level, Thula, Sukshma, and Karana Prapanchas are being eliminated. Why is it so important, this negation? So, there are two principles of Vedanta, which of course we have said before. I'll just repeat them. Anything which is existing can never be negated. You agree?
Yes.
Existing in the sense of permanent existence, Satyam. Right? Satyam can never be negated. And what is non-existent, it need not be negated because it is non-existent. There are two important principles. So I put it in our language, Sat can never be negated, which means whatever is negated cannot be Sat. Right? Okay, that is one thing. Whatever is negated cannot be Sat. Right? I am using Sat in the Tattvabodha terms right now. Whatever is negated cannot be Sat. Also, another corollary, an important one, is whatever is negated cannot be Asat also. Why?
we can see it.
No, we saw the two principles. What are they? Whatever is existent cannot be negated. That means whatever is Sat cannot be negated. Whatever is Asat need not be negated. And therefore, whatever is negated cannot be Sat. Whatever is negated also cannot be Asat. Very important understanding. Therefore, whatever is negated should be different from existing and non-existing. Should be different from Sat and Asat. And Veda is negating this creation through this word prapancho pashamam. Okay. What does it mean? Since the world is negated, it cannot come under Sat. Right? And since it is negated, it can also not come under Asat. Whatever is negated, remember, cannot be Asat. Whatever is negated cannot be Sat also. Therefore, whatever is negated can be neither Sat nor Asat. And since the three universes are being negated by the use of this word prapancha upashamam, the three universes are neither Sat nor Asat. Very important idea. Then what
Means
is...
they are mithya.
Sorry?
Mithya means they are mithya.
Absolutely. Means it's a mithya. And therefore, this word is Sat, Asat, Vilakshanam. Different from Sat and Asat, which is another name for mithya. Right? For example, dream is also mithya. So, according to this seventh mantra, this word doesn't exist. It's different from Sat. It also doesn't not exist. It is different from Asat. And therefore, it's an intermediate category seemingly existing, which we call mithya. Right? Remember, therefore, the first three padas, they are talking about the three universes only. And the first three padas are therefore mithya and cannot be taken as satyam. Okay, that is the meaning of the word prapancho pashamam. Of course,
So
we will
we
see
say
this in great detail.
dependent existence.
Dependent existence, yes. Dependent existence is mithya. Okay, so remember that very important word. I have spent some time on it, but we'll spend the entire second chapter on it. So if you have not understood, just park it. I'm sure all of you are advanced students. Mithya is not a very big concept. But prapancha upashamam, the word must be connected to mithya. What is the next word? We'll take, let us take Advaitam. Now, Advaitam is a very, very significant word. We are taking Advaitam. Why? The next word literally in the mantra is Shantam. But I'm taking Advaitam first because I said that for Prapancha Upashamam, Gaudapada has written one full chapter, second chapter. For the word Advaitam, he has written another full chapter, that is the third chapter over here. And that's why we're taking Advaitam first. The Advaitam, that chapter, third chapter, has 48 Kaarikas, right? Explaining this one word. So Gaudapada has written one full chapter. We'll come to that. And Chaturtham Manyante means is called the fourth. So literally he's saying this word Turiam, this Brahman, Turiam is the fourth. Remember, the word Turiam is not used in the mantra at all. Okay. We are using it. Literally Turiam means Chaturtham, is fourth. Okay. Now, a question can come up. You have said that the first three padas have been negated. How can you say that Advaitam is the fourth pada? Right? So the idea being conveyed is that people mistake consciousness, Turiam, as the fourth entity. Why? Because they think Vishwa, Tajasa and Prajna are all three are Satyam. And therefore, Vishwa is pada number 1, Tajasa is pada number 2, Prajna is pada number 3, and therefore they consider Turiam as pada number 4, and therefore Manyante. They think that this Turiam is the 4th pada. But wise people like us, they know that Vishwa, Tajasa, Prajna is Mithya, and therefore Turiam is Advaitam alone. There is nothing but Turiam. It is a very substratum of the other 3 padas. We'll go back to the next word, Shantam. Shantam means undisturbed, peaceful, which means that just as in your dream, if you fall into the ocean, it cannot wet the waker. When you get up from the dream, you are not wet. The waker is not touched by the dream sea, the dream waters. If you fall into a fire in your dream, when you get up, your skin is not burnt. And just like the dream cannot touch the waker, remember that's very important, the waker, not the dreamer. The dream cannot touch the waker. Why are we saying waker? Because waker is the adhishthanam of the dreamer. Waker is the substratum of the dreamer. It is a waker from whom the dreamer is projected. Therefore, the waker cannot be touched by the dream. Similarly, why cannot be touched? Because the waker is Vyavaharika Satyam. The dream is what Satyam?
Pratibhasika.
Pratibhasika Satyam. So there is a Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika. Pratibhasika is a lower reality. Vyavaharika is a higher reality. Vyavaharika is a higher reality. Similarly, your Paramarthika is a higher reality and Vyavaharika is a lower reality. Just as Pratibhasika cannot touch Vyavaharika, a higher reality, Vyavaharika cannot touch its higher reality, that is Pratibhasika, that is Paramarthika, that is Turiam. Therefore, this material world, this Mithya world cannot disturb Turiam the Satyam, and therefore Shantam. That Turiam is not disturbed by the 3 universes. Then the Shivam Advaitam we have seen, Shivam we have to see. Shivam means Shantam, free from sorrow, Dukkha Rahitam. Right? So this Turiam is Dukkha Rahitam, which means this Turiam is of the nature of Ananda only. Shivam means Ananda Swarupam, having the nature of Ananda. And this kind of Turiam, Sa Atma Sa Vinyayaha, clearly know that Turiam alone to be the Atma. Sa Atma. So here refers to that Turiam which has been discussed so far. Sa Atma, Sa Vinyaya. You should know that that Turiam is the Atma, the real meaning of the word I. So I am the Turiam, the only reality unaffected by anything which happens in the 3 universes. This is the meaning of the mantra. Any questions? Okay.
Oh, Acharya,
Yeah.
in this we say Shivam as the Anandam,
Yes.
not as Shiva itself, not as Shiva.
No, here Shivam is taken as Anandam. The Shiva Swarupam is Ananda Swarupam. Auspiciousness.
Because this mantra is often quoted while it's during Shiva mantras.
Yes, a lot of people quote it. All sort of mantras are quoted in all sort of ways. We are looking at pure, what is known as Ajativada.
Mm.
So from that portion you have to interpret.
Okay. I
Okay.
made an album which opened with this mantra. Shivoham was the name of the album, Shiva Mantras. It opened with
Of
this
course.
mantra. Shivam
course.
Shantam Advaitam.
People will use it. See, the same Veda is interpreted by different people, right? Dvaitins interpret the same Veda. Vishishta Advaitins interpret the same Veda. So, depending upon your, inclinations, because Veda can be interpreted in any way, since a lot of it is on the face of it very contradictory, and therefore it leads to multiple interpretations, which is why we have so many different, philosophies. Okay, now Gaudapada explains this in a few more Kaarikas. So we'll read Kaarika number 10. So please unmute yourself, we'll chant. Nivritte sarvadukhanam
Nivritte sarvadukhanam
Ishanah prabhuravyayah
Ishanah
Ishanah
Prabhuravyayah
prabhuravyayah
Advaita sarvabhavanam
Advaita
Advaita
Sarvabhavanam
sarvabhavanam
Devasturyo vibhusmritah.
Devasturyo
Devasturyo
Vibhusmritah
vibhusmritah.
So here you will find the word Turiam has been introduced. Devas Turyo Vibhuhu Smritaha. So this one Karika, Gaudapada is beginning to summarize the whole of the seventh mantra. So Turya Smritaha. Remember that Upanishad says Chaturtham. It doesn't use the word Turiam. Gaudapada uses the word Turiam here. Turiam Smritaha. That Atma is said to be Turiam. What is the Atma? Ishanaha. So Ishanaha means the master of. Why is it the master? Sarva dukkhanam nivrattehe. Because it's free from all pains. From all dukkham, it is free. And what kind of pains? So the mantra doesn't say, Gaudapada doesn't say. Shankara in his commentary says, pragnya tejasa vishva lakshananam. All the pain which is suffered by the pragnya, the vishva and tajasa. All sort of problems which are there in these three avasthas. Turiam is free from that. And sarva dukkha means free from the pain suffered by pragnya, tajasa and vishva. Okay. That is the explanation given by Shankara. And then prabhuhu. Prabhuhu means this word is explaining Ishanaha further. Remember that Ishanaha means master. Prabhuhu also means master. What is the difference? So Shankara says you have to read the context carefully. There is a difference. What is the difference? Ishanaha is the one who is free from problems. The one who has no problems is Ishanaha. Who is Prabhuhu? Prabhuhu is that person who is free from problems, of course, but he is capable of freeing others from their problems. That is the difference. So Ishanaha means one who is free from problems. Prabhuhu means the one who is capable of freeing others from their problems. And therefore, nivrittehe sarvadukkhanam, since Turiam is itself free from all problems, it is also capable of freeing others from all the other problems. How do we know? Because scripture after scripture says the one who knows Brahman Turiam, that jnanam becomes the cause of destruction of sorrow. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita also, we have seen that in Upanishads also, that knowledge of Brahman alone frees you from samsara, from sorrow. Okay. Then avyayaha. Prabhuhu avyayaha. Avyayaha means, Shankara defines very carefully. He says the one who does not deviate from his own changeless nature. Means that Turiam is always Satchitananda nature, is always Akarta nature. Even though it appears as being associated with the three avasthas, and therefore you can say that it is the upadana karanam for the avasthas, right? But it is the vivarta upadana karanam. Like if you can take the example of the rope becoming the snake. Even the rope apparently becomes a snake, right? The snake is not possible without the rope. But does the rope change anything about itself? No. The rope remains the rope. But it is a vivarto padanakara. It appears as the snake. So avyayaha. That Turiam, even though it is associated with three avasthas, that Turiam does not and cannot deviate from its own real nature. Right? Okay. Then Devaha. So this Devaha is Devaha. Devas Turyoha has to be broken up into Devaha, Turyaha. So Devaha here means effulgent, self-revealing. And therefore that Turiam is the self-effulgent consciousness. Right? When are you self-effulgent? All the time. Why? Because you know, nobody needs to ask you, are you there? Right? If somebody asks you, even the moment you get up from deep sleep, somebody asks, are you there? You are not going to say, okay, let me see if I am there or not. You know you are there. And therefore, you are always self-effulgent. So he says, Sarva Bhavanam Devaha. In all the bhavas, all the three avasthas, in Jagrata Avastha, in Sushupti Avastha, and Swapna Avastha, this Turiam is self-effulgent. Like the gold is self-effulgent in the ring, in the bangle, and the chain. You don't have to look elsewhere. So in Jagrata Avastha, in Swapna Avastha, and Sushupti Avastha, I, Turiam, am always self-effulgent. Okay. Now, Vibhuhu. Where is this consciousness located? Vibhuhu. Vibhuhu means all pervading, limitless, everywhere. It is there everywhere. It is the indivisible principle among all divisible things. It is the indestructible principle among all destructible things. This is the nature of Turiya. Right? So Gaudapada will deal with, as I said, Prapancha Upashamam in much more detail in second chapter, and Advaitam in the third chapter. Okay, any more questions? Karika 10 is over. We'll just do one more Karika before we close.
So, Acharya, we said the miseries of all the three states.
Yes.
So, for Karana Shariram, it is what? The ignorance, Avarana Shakti?
Karana
What
Shariram
is the
is the
misery?
Avarana Shakti is basically pain, because it's because of the Avarana Shakti that everything else comes. Therefore, Sushupti Avastha,
Yeah.
the pain is the ignorance. It is a Mula
Ignorance,
Vidya.
yeah.
Mula Vidya, yeah.
Mula Vidya, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now let us chant the 11th Karika. Karya Karana Baddhautau
Karyakaranapadvaitau
Ishyete Vishvataijasau
Ishyete
Ishyete
Vishvataijasau
Vishvataijasau
Prajna Karana Baddhastu
Prajnakarana
Karana Padhastu
Dautau Turina Siddhyataha.
Dvautau
Dvautau
Turyana
Turyana
Siddhyataha.
Okay, one must be very careful when one talks about prajna. It is prajna, not prajna. Okay, prajna and prajna are totally opposed to each other. So let us be careful when pronouncing. Right. So now Gaudapada is going to give a comparative study of the four padas. Okay. Now, why is he using this comparative study? Comparative study means what? Seeing the common features and seeing the uncommon features also. Differences as well as non-differences have to be studied. So why is he using this prakriya? Let us think of the standard example, Rajju Sarpa, right? There is a rope lying on the road. The road is in semi-darkness. It is not, I'll repeat, it is not in total darkness. It is partial light and partial darkness. It's a very important idea. Okay, partial light and partial darkness is very important. Why? If it was totally dark, you would not see the rope.
non-existent.
And
Yes.
therefore the
Yes.
Question of snake coming up is not there. If it is totally lighted up, you would see the rope for what it is.
Yes.
Because you are not able to see clearly, that is why there is an error. Okay. Okay. So you know, because of the partial light, you know that there is something lying on the road. But the light is not bright enough. So you don't know exactly what it is. Therefore, you have partial knowledge of the rope and partial ignorance of the rope. Okay. There is something lying on the road. That is partial knowledge. What is that something is not known. That is partial ignorance. Because of the rope ignorance, the error is born. I mistake the incorrectly perceived rope as a snake. This idea being conveyed here is that the snake perception is an error, and that error is possible only if there is ignorance present. If there is no ignorance and there was total light, I would not see the rope at all. I would see the rope as a rope. I would not mistake it as a snake. If there is total darkness, I would not see the rope at all, and therefore I would not see a snake. Therefore, ignorance is the karanam and error is the karyam. Ignorance is the cause and error is the product. Gaudapada says that whenever you take these 4 padas, you can see in your entire life is what consisting of nothing but ignorance plus error. Why? In the 7th mantra, the Upanishad very clearly states that Turiam, that limitlessness is your real nature. Unfortunately, when I was born, I am not born with the knowledge. I am born with the I knowledge, right? So that is the partial knowledge. But I am not born with the knowledge that I am that limitless Turiam. That is the partial ignorance. See the comparison. Partial knowledge is there, I. What that I is, I don't know. That is partial ignorance. Because I don't know what my real I is. What is my real I? Unlimited I. Because I don't know that I am unlimited, I take myself as limited. So out of the ignorance of my nature as limitless I is born the error of taking myself as the limited I. Ignorance of limitlessness is the karanam. Limited I is the effect. When I am Vishwa, I look upon myself as limited I. I talk about my date of birth, my qualifications, my house, my wife, my car. Vishwa is error number 1. In dream also, I take myself as limited, space-wise, time-wise. So Tajasa is error number 2. And Sushupti Avastha, I never say I am limited, because nobody experiences limitation in time and space. So the product, the error, is not there in Sushupti Avastha. What is there in Sushupti Avastha? The ignorance of the limitless I is very much present in Sushupti Avastha. So all 3 avasthas, this is the idea, that in Jagrata Avastha, ignorance of limitless I is present, error of limited I is present. In Swapna Avastha, ignorance of limitless I is present, error of limited I is present. In Sushupti Avastha, there is a difference. Ignorance of limited I is present very much, but the error of limited I is not present. There is a difference between the 3 avasthas. 2 avasthas is there, 3rd avastha it is different, right? And he says, Turiam is free from both these limitations. The limited I belongs to Vishva Tajasa. The limitless I, ignorance, belongs to all three. And Turim is free from all these three. Therefore, we can say that prajna is ignorance of limitless I, which is the karanam. And therefore, since the ignorance of the limitless I is the karanam for limited I, we can say that prajna is the karanam for Vishwa, I and Tajasa. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Gaudapada uses a few expressions here. So the word agrahanam literally means non-comprehension. That is the word used for ignorance. Then he says anyatha grahanam. Anyatha grahanam means comprehending in a different manner, which is to be taken as error. Comprehending differently to what it really is. Therefore, agrahanam means ignorance. Anyatha grahanam means error. These are two words we are again and again talking about. Ignorance and error. Therefore, agrahanam is the cause. Anyatha grahanam is the product. Ignorance is the cause for the error. And error is the product. Therefore, ignorance is karanam and error is karyam. He also uses some other terms. He uses the term bija for ignorance. So bija is the seed, the cause for ignorance. And ankura, the plant, is the product of ignorance. That is another set of words. Bija ankura, we have different sets. Agrahanam, anyata grahanam, karanam, karyam, bija ankuraha. And also uses the word nidra and swapna. Nidra is because during sushupti avastha, you have only ignorance. And during sapna avastha, you have error also. So nidra is sleep, that is ignorance, and swapna is error, that is the product. So these four sets of words we should keep in mind. And with these four sets of words, we are going to talk about Vishwa, Tajasa, Prajna, and Turyam. So again, remember, error is always born from ignorance. Where knowledge is present, there cannot be an error. So ignorance is cause, error is the effect. Okay, so these are the four different expressions, different pairs of expressions being used. And these expressions can be classified into ignorance, that is ajnanam, and product of ignorance, that is ajnana karya. Okay. So let us see the ajnanam category. The ignorance category, the words are nidra. Ignorance is nidra because when you are asleep to a fact, it means you are ignorant of the fact. Therefore, nidra. Agrahanam, non-perception of a fact, is also ajnanam. We are talking about ajnanam category. Okay, so nidra is ajnanam. Agrahanam, non-perception is ajnanam. Rope, ignorance is nothing but non-perception of the fact that it is a rope. The third one is karanam. Ignorance is referred to as karanam or the cause. Why? Because ignorance is always the cause for the error. And then there is bijam. Why is ignorance being called a seed? Because just as from a seed, a sprout will emerge, similarly from this ajnanam seed, the error will emerge. Right? Remember that rope ignorance is the seed for not just one misconception. It can have several misconceptions. There is only one rope lying on that dim road, but one person perceives it as a snake. Another person perceives it as a garland. A third person perceives it as a broken stick. All misconceptions are sprouts born of one seed of ignorance. And therefore, ignorance can be referred to by four different expressions. Correspondingly, the product of ignorance, the karyam, can also be represented by four different expressions. Okay, so we have seen the Ajnanam category. We have to see the Ajnana Karyam category. We will carry on the discussion in next session.
Acharya,
Yes, Ashpiji.
there is always one question in my mind regarding the rope and the snake example. We said if the snake exists in the rope,
Yes.
does it exist in the rope or in our mind as a thought? If we did not know the snake, then we can never perceive this rope as a snake.
Correct. You are agreed. But where are you seeing the snake?
In the rope.
In the rope. Therefore, the rope, snake is in the rope.
So, but it projects from my mind.
Maybe. Everything is a thought. Even the rope is a thought in your mind.
So, okay.
That
Because
idea,
it is
very carefully understand that the rope, it may be an object outside, but ultimately it is only a thought in your mind.
So, but it is projected from my mind only.
Both are projected from mind. That
So
is the
how do
idea.
we
We
say
are
it
eliminating the
exists in
mind
the-
from this, and therefore we are coming to the rope. Because the mind is common to both. Without the mind, you will neither see the rope nor the snake.
Okay.
So the common factor eliminating and coming back to the rope and the snake. The whole problem is the mind only in this entire story. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Mudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate
Vashishyate.
Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much,
Namo.
Acharya ji.